exploring lakes, rivers, and reservoirs across the country with an unyielding goal to enlighten viewers from a fisheye perspective. Come along and we'll investigate the habitat. Much more than a fishing show. This is an eye-opening aquatic experience. Welcome to Strike King's Hook and Look with Kim Stricker. Although closely related, largemouth and smallmouth bass do display some individual preferences. None are more apparent than the largemouth's love of shaded areas. The broad, low-lying cover provided by a moored shoreline pontoon boat can block a great deal of direct sunlight penetration, offering cooler water temperatures within the dark shadow below. More significantly, however, is the reality that this heavily shaded area offers largemouth a comfortable place of concealment, a place to hide and use as an ambush point. The edge created by the sunshine contrast makes it very difficult for prey swimming outside the shade line to detect what lingers within the portentous shadow. Venture too close, and an encounter could mean certain demise. Who knows what evil lurks beneath a floating canopy? The shadow knows.
Ooh, good fish, good fish. Nice one, man. Look at that, that's beautiful.
Welcome. Kim and Danny Stricker have launched yet another Hook and Look escapade. This time on a small, populated inland lake in search of shallow, post-spawn largemouth bass.
Boy, that skip's so nice. Get out of there, baby. Get out of there. Nice fish, nice largemouth too. Oh, yes. Yes, come on up here. The way to start the morning out. Oh, that's a good one. My life jacket in my net. Come on over here, darling. Yes. Very nice. Skipping under the docks. That a nice largemouth. A little 4-inch caffeine shad. Look at that. Very nice. Man, oh man, if this is the way the day's gonna start, we'll see how it goes from there. Whew. Those big ones are gonna be on the docks. We've already proved that. There might be a couple still on the bed. But when the big ones get done, I think they get under the docks here. Welcome everyone. More specifically, those bass really get under those shallow pontoon boats. The broad amount of shade created by the low-hanging cover gives the bass a great place to conceal themselves. Sometimes you actually think it's too shallow, but trust me, they get under there. Just like I said, you don't think they're underneath it. Look at there. There's about a foot of water under there. I must have thrown on the correct side because he's blind in his left side. There we go. Another good fish. Yeah, he's blind in his left or his right eye. But he was up there in nothing water. underneath that pontoon. Hooked them good. Right in the right part. There we go. Huh? Another good one.
Coming up, Danny suits up and takes us underneath the pontoons. An informative segment is on deck. Hook and Look is brought to you by Strike King Lure Company, #1 in fishing lures. Humminbird, simply, clearly, better. Vicious Fishing Line, get vicious. And by Boat US Angler. Welcome back. Danny Stricker is prepared to explore the shadows beneath the docks and pontoon boats. What do you say you and I tag along?
Let's see what I can find. Some sort of shiner here in front of weeds in front of the dock. I just crept up in here, right under the pontoon, with a giant largemouth. And he wasn't moving real fast. He just kind of slowly crept by. These pontoons have potential. If they've got shade, those bass want it. On a bright sunny day, they just tuck back in their stuff and relax. All right, creeping up to the next boat. I don't want to smoke them off. Well, one thing I find, at least it seems to have been true, is most of these jocks, they only have about one bass under them. You know, if you got a good keeper, it's almost like they're single residence homes. It's almost rare to find it with multiple bass under it, although I can't say you never do.
Many of the docks and boat lifts had large schools of bluegill under them. Bluegills relate to these dock structures and, like bass, really seem to appreciate the shady refuge this type of cover provides. One of the docks I came upon, however, did have two big largemouth holding under it. As I approached, they both retreated towards the concealment of a nearby pontoon boat. I had my dad make a cast under it as I observed the bass's reaction from below. Making a perfect cast, he skipped the Caffeine Shad all the way to the bow. As he began to work the lure back, one of the bass slowly approached it. Then out of the blue, the other competitively engulfed it.
You got him, you got him, you got him! Oh man! Oh, that's such a riot! Oh, you lost him!
Come on. It doesn't matter if it's tournament competition or just out fun fishing. I do not like losing fish, but at least in this case, I've got the opportunity to review exactly what happened in slow motion from our hook and look perspective. First of all, you'll notice that there are no forage species present under this pontoon. No bluegills, no shiners, only big bass concealed beneath the canopy. As I begin to work the Caffeine Shad, it appears in the left side of the screen, darting and twitching, just like an injured baitfish. Then I kill the action and let it fall. This first fish appears interested and slowly approaches, but it's a competitive environment below the surface, and if you snooze, you lose. Now suddenly from about 8 feet away, the other bass charges in on the still sinking Caffeine Shad, aggressively intimidating the first fish. It opens its mouth, engulfs my bait, and turns. Okay, it's at this point I feel the fish and set the hook. Watch again as I give his head a jerk. Boom! And the battle begins. Struggling to free itself, the bass repeatedly shakes its big head, opening its mouth intermittently in an effort to dislodge the hook. Then a powerful surge. Now it turns its head towards me, opens its mouth, and the hook simply pops out. The agony of defeat. It appeared that the hook was just not penetrated properly.
Just admit it, that was a wimpy hook set. What really surprised me was just how unaffected the bass were at my presence under the pontoons. It's so rare for us to encounter largemouth, and have them confidently sit there and not spook away when we exhale bubbles. On several occasions, those bass actually approached me, slowly swimming closer, inquisitively checking me out. We regularly see this curious behavior with smallmouth, but rarely with largemouth.
What Danny's non-spooky observation means to us fishermen is that it tells us just how secure and concealed those bass feel under the pontoons. They're less apt to be alarmed. Even when you make a few bad casts, they don't appear to spook as easy as you might think. Those fish are positioned under there for ambush and are readily aggressive, so be sure not to overlook this dark canopy of cover and keep casting until you reach the zone, even if you smack the side of the pontoon a few times.
Now, don't try this at home, folks. He's a professional. There's more shady action coming right up. Welcome back to Hook and Look. Kim has been targeting the shady areas beneath moored pontoon boats with a weightless Strike King Caffeine Shad, and the pattern has proven to be quite predictable. These largemouth, however, are transient and will move off, cruising the open shoreline between the docks in search of the next shadow in which to conceal themselves.
There's nothing in that Caffeine Shad, but it's just the right bait for post-spawn. Because it darts, it's got that jerk bait, and it triggers strikes. Well, keep reaching for them until I got my net. Yes, sir. Come on. Well, that little old hook's getting in there. Heck yeah. The open water presentation is an easy one, but when it comes to skipping under those pontoons, casting accuracy is important, but even more so is skipping distance. Many of the bass we observed under the pontoon boats were positioned way back towards the shallowest end of the shade, so it's imperative that your presentation carries the distance to reach these fish, whether from underneath the pontoon or straight down the side. In clear water, these bass will most likely travel a greater distance to strike, but regardless, the closer you get to their zone, the odds of your success increases. For skipping, I personally prefer to use medium-heavy spinning equipment, no longer than 6.5 feet long. It's easy to cast, and you don't have to worry about backlashes when your bait clips the water. Frankly, my thumb isn't talented enough to skip with bait casting equipment. I also need to bring to your attention that proper boat positioning is crucial for skipping under pontoons. Wind can make it difficult, but if it's blowing, I'll regularly drop my power pole to hold my boat in ideal position and prevent drifting past the dock. Once in position, I'll employ a low sidearm cast and make my presentation, skipping the Caffeine Shad once just in front of the pontoon so it will continue to skip all the way to the bow. Then I allow it to sink a bit, jerk it on slack line a few times, and let it fall again. If a fish is there, usually by now he's eaten it. For ease of casting, superior strength, and abrasion resistance, I spool up with braided line and then tip it with about 5 feet of fluorocarbon for its transparency, and it sinks well. Another great looking pontoon. Oh, that's the cast. There he is. There he is. Another good one. Another good one. Yeah, the real good one. Oh, yes. Oh, man. Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, man. Come on over. Whoa! Come on over here. Oop. He don't want to come in yet. Oh, that's a pig. That's a pig. Yes, sir. That's what I said. Yeah, it is about 4 pounds. Okay, let me take the hook out. Oh boy, it stuck him good too. There we go. Boy, look how healthy that fish is. Nice fat. I am loving this post-spawn fishing. All right, here he comes, girls. That really quacks me up.
Now wasn't that just ducky? Stick around. The shadows continue to generate strikes right after this. This portion of Hook and Look is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Power Pole, swift, silent, secure. Evinrude. And by PADI, the Professional Association of Diving Instructors. PADI is the way the world learns to dive. Welcome back to Hook and Look. Let's join Kim as he meets up with Evinrude's Assistant Product Manager, Eric Olson, to discuss Evinrude's evolving enhancements.
Well, you know, one of the things that we do is we're constantly testing the engines, and we're looking at the usage of our consumers. And obviously it's not going to stay stationary or stagnant. Our users change and evolve. So does our testing. And one of the things that we've done is we've looked at that, and we actually added one feature that's a pretty cool deal. In the past, we've had our single injector of oil that would inject oil to the actual crankshaft bearings, as well as the cylinder walls. So what we looked at, it was the usage when we were looking at the bass side or the walleye side of the high performance boater, which they're taking things to the extreme, where they're going from wide open to shut off that engine to start it and hammer down again. We want to make sure that oil is exactly where it needs to be and it's how much needs to be there. So what we've done is we've taken the same injector, which is based on our E-Tech injector. It's able to cycle very quickly, efficiently, and it's able to operate at any condition. So it gives us that capability, but we've added another injector at the back of the engine. And what that injector actually does, it allows us to lubricate. Again, one injector lubricates the crankshafts and connecting rods. Now what we've got is this injector dedicated to the cylinder walls themselves. So we're not only getting oil when it needs to be there, but not any more than needs to be there. When and where, it's pinpoint oiling, really giving the user exactly what they want as far as the oil consumption, clean burning technology, and still keeping Evinrude the cleanest outboard in the world.
It's been a productive day on Pontoon Lagoon, to say the least. The bright sun has the bass positioned tightly within the shallow confines below the shoreline boats and docks. Kim has been skillfully skipping a weightless, soft plastic jerkbait, Strike King's 4-inch Caffeine Shad. Here's Kim to tell us more about this effective lure choice.
The Caffeine Shad is made with the perfect plastics, which is loaded with salt, and it casts great and it falls just right. It's also scented with coffee. It comes in two sizes. You've got a 5-inch, and last year Strike King came out with a 4-inch. And it's that little 4-inch that I'm using today, and it just skips so beautifully up underneath the docks. Ooh, good fish, good fish. Nice one, man. Look at that, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. Look at the size of this one. Ooh. When that sun gets up high, they get up under these docks. Oh, yes. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Come on up here, big boy. Oh, that's a beautiful fish. Look at there. Oh, yes. Little 4-inch caffeine shad. A little light wire hook, 10-pound fluorocarbon. Just skipping it up under those docks. Let me get that out of there. I got them hooked really good too, right? Good place. Light wire hook really gets in there. Huh? Nice, nice, nice. Look at its tail from spawning. They're post-spawn. They get underneath those docks. I'm loving it, loving it, loving it. Go on back to your hiding place. Learning to skip proficiently may take a little practice, but it's well worth the time and effort, especially if the lake you fish has a lot of docks and moored pontoon boats. On our next episode, we get Sioux happy in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, with renowned salmon guide John Giuliani. We also visit Lake Superior State University's Aquatic Research Lab to learn about the continued success of their Atlantic salmon stocking program. That's right, Atlantic salmon. A little change of pace. Next week on Hook and Look.
Hook and Look is a Kim Stricker production.